one thing that we wished was that more multi-7-figure businesses did was actually tell you how they did it. So rather than all that secretive stuff they give you, work hard, don't give up, and you won't fail unless you decide to give in. And it's like, oh, well and good, but like just...
That's wank advice.
Yeah, or they're like, be authentic online, or just this stuff.
Give value.
Yeah, like what does all that mean? Like we wished that somebody had just been more honest about their experience on the way up.
Welcome to the Success School podcast. We are on episode 37. Today we're going to be talking to you guys about building a roadmap to a 7-figure business. That might seem like it's very far away for you right now, but we're going to give you the steps to get there anyway. So the point that you can scale your business, or the point you can scale your business, you're going to know exactly what to do. Steph, how are we feeling this week? Give me your life update. What's going on?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to talk about this because I know that somebody might here be listening today and thinking like, oh, I don't really know if I want to go to a 7-figure business. That's cool. Like, we call it a 7-figure business because that's what we have done, and a lot of people tell us it's what they love about what we've done, and so we share this information. But the same stuff applies to get to 6-figure, the same stuff applies to get to 500,000, the same stuff applies. So, like, you can definitely make this applicable whether you want to hit 7 figures or not. But going to a little life update, I've been a little demotivated the last few weeks, haven't I?
Tell us about it.
I've had a little demotivation.
Vulnerability.
I have had a little demotivation spike, and I want to talk about this because it's normal, and I think that a lot of people, if they get demotivated in their business for whatever reason, like they kind of put a lot of pressure on themselves that they're failing, or all this sort of stuff can come up. And the reason I want to share it with you guys today is because I was feeling demotivated because I had a lot of personal stuff going on outside of the business, and that's okay, but it just meant that my energy levels were really split. So, aside from showing up for our clients, doing the work on the business that's required, and then also having to deal with a lot of personal, very emotional stuff, it can be really hard to kind of get motivated when you're in that space. And so I went through a little period of demotivation. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is because I want to share with you how I got out of it, because Tim was definitely not in a demotivated state. He was the opposite, and he was really running forward and powering through stuff to grow our business because we've set some big, lofty goals this year, and I just couldn't get myself excited to work on them. So here's what we did. Well, here's what I did to get motivated again. So first and foremost, I realized that when I'm feeling stagnant and demotivated, if I feel like the things that I'm doing in business aren't necessarily working or producing the results that I want them to, which is typically also when I get a little demotivated, I just learn and upskill. So one of the things that Tim constantly reminds me to do is just like go and watch something, get excited. And so we spent like 3 nights the last couple of weeks, like every week, just watching YouTube rather than watching Netflix. So we're watching like Alex Hormozi, other mentors that we have paid for, and friends that we know that create really great content. And we're just focusing on really learning and really increasing those inputs. When I learn something new that I feel like I can apply, I get really excited. And so that like was the first step to me kind of getting back on the mojo horse. And the second thing was to build something new. So we have had this idea, which Tim is going to, I think, go through in his share today, but we had this idea to build this additional course for a really long time. And Tim just took control this last like 2 weeks and was like, we're going to do it. And he just got me really lit up and really excited for it. And so we've just managed to build all that. But I think, Tim, you're going to dive into that today.
Yeah, it is. It's very exciting for us. So, Steph and I have a massive audience of people that are in the 0 to 5K, and it might be a little bit too soon for them or you to join Success School if you're listening. Success School is a bit of a heavier investment. It's a bit of a heavier commitment, which we fully understand as well. But, that doesn't mean we don't want to help the, quote unquote little guys out. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. I just mean like people getting into business. So Steph and I have been talking about this, I would say for the better part of 3 years, we've been talking about having a program that was for the 0 to 5K. So, I was like, enough's enough. I need to build this thing. So, we wrote it out. We wrote the 16 steps to build a 5K consistent business. And then we went out, created the modules, filmed it, and executed that this week. I am absolutely exhausted right now. It has been a massive week. On top of that, we just hired our marketing manager. We have a second closer. Our team has basically tripled in size in the last 2 months, which has been just absolutely wild over here at Success School. But, I'm just super fucking lit up. I had the opportunity to convince my wife, Steph, my co-podcast host, on a joint goal for the end of the year, although she might not see it as a joint goal. It is loud, it is orange, it is very expensive, it's got a black wing on it, starts with an L and ends with an I. And what is it, Steph?
It is it Lamborghini? Lamborghini.
Yeah.
So we apparently, it took me a little while to get on board with this. It's interesting why it took me a long time to get on board with this, actually.
Yeah, why?
Like, I actually love supercars. I think they're really cool. Like, obviously, growing up, you just never think you're ever going to be able to have a supercar. So the concept that this is even on the table for us potentially this year is crazy and super exciting. But it's because of the stigma. Man, the stigma is hardcore. A couple of the guys that come to our gym have, McLarens, Ferraris, a few other kinds of insane cars, and they come to the gym and sometimes we hear it, like the gym members will say things about these guys like, compensating for something, and there's all this stigma that like, you're a rich asshole if you have a car like that. And it's actually been really interesting how much it's stopped me from wanting to have the things that I want in life. And I just think like, Tim and I are really like pushing forward anyway because we want it.
Fuck it.
This is one life and we only get this life and we want to do it like our fucking way. But it's crazy just with like very specific things like sports cars. That's very much, and supercars, that's very much a stigma thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So interesting.
I posted it yesterday on my Instagram, and I had, someone with a shit profile that wasn't them. It was like Illuminati 127. And they were like, I can't believe you're going to buy a Lamborghini. I bet you're renting your house. And I was like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, you don't know me. You have a fucking fake profile on Instagram. And you're trying to give me financial advice.
It's really interesting how triggered people get by this stuff. So... Yeah. It's been it's an interesting human experiment, but at the end of the day, Tim wants a Lamborghini. I want him to be happy. I think it's happy husband, happy life, right? So I want him to be happy. I want him to like play out his childhood dreams. Like, I think that's fucking cool if we get to the position where we can do that. And so I'm super pumped to help us get there. Yeah,
I'm excited too. Steph, do you want to give us your lesson of the week?
Yeah. So really quick one, guys. I'm going to smash through this, but because I was feeling demotivated, another thing that gets me pretty excited is things that I want in life. So if I'm not connected to my goal or my outcome or things that I want to achieve, sometimes it can get a little bit maniacal in your business. And sometimes we lose track of the things that we, really desire in life because we get comfortable and especially if you've done any level of self-development or personal development, it's very easy to convince you, like to remind yourself that like the only things that really matter are the people around you, right? And 100%. So you can really easily forget to like drive forward in a business. And so when I'm feeling a little bit scarce or a little bit like demotivated or not abundant, what I asked Tim to do moving forward is just to take me on a little drive around all of the local areas in Perth here that have like multi-million-dollar mansions. Because every single time I drive around those areas, they always have big yachts and they have nice cars and they have these huge expansive estates and they're so beautiful. I get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I want to live here. Like, how do I get to live here? Like, this is so cool. Like, imagine waking up here every day. Like, how awesome. Like, you look at the architecture, it's beautiful. Like, the water is beautiful. And you just want to be part of that. For me personally, anyway, I could spend hours on realestate.com. And so for me, it's like that got me excited as well. It's like, okay, if we can keep doing this, if we just keep helping more people, like we know that the amount of income that we earn is directly proportionate to the amount of people we help, like in terms of actually the more help we give people, the more we make, which is so awesome. And so it's just like, yeah, I'm lit up.
And Steph, give me the song that was coming up when you were on realestate.com. I want you to sing it for me. La, 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 wait till I get
you
my
said I was going
money
to sing
right.
it.
Oh, yeah, you go.
No, you took it off me to the acapella.
Anyway, Steph sings Kanye West, Wait Till I Get My Money Right. What is that song? Champion?
Is it Can't Tell Me Nothing?
Can't Tell Me Nothing. Okay, cool. If you guys want to get inspired, listen to that. I'll quickly get into my lesson of the week. So, I go through waves of motivation. My low motivation is still probably very high motivation for like other people. But like I do have low motivation periods, and something that's got me really inspired in the last couple of months is just reconnecting with my why and my mission. Okay. So Simon Sinek says your why should make you cry. Okay. I'm not quite at the level of crying about my why, but you're not going to see that on this video right now if you guys are watching. By the way, jump on YouTube, guys. Subscribe on YouTube. That is the place to get on this podcast. So, your why should make you cry. For us, our why or our mission is to create 1,000 six-figure entrepreneurs and 100 seven-figure entrepreneurs in the next couple of years. I haven't put a date on that, but I feel like that is ever approaching. I feel like it's getting faster and faster and faster. We're getting towards that. But, every time I'm feeling a little bit of a flat moment, I will have a look at that on my screensaver, and that is my why and my mission. So if you're someone that's feeling flat about your business right now, connect with your why, connect with your mission. It has to be something bigger than just like, I want to make money and I want to get money for my family. Because like, you'll do that pretty easily if you guys apply the stuff that we're doing in this episode today.
Right. So one thing that we wish, and going into today's topic, which is your roadmap to a 7-figure business, one thing that we wish was that more multi-7-figure businesses did was actually tell you how they did it. So rather than all that secretive stuff they give you, like when you see lots of multi-7-figure businesses, online, they're like, work hard, don't give up, and you won't fail unless you decide to give in. And it's like, oh, well and good, but like just...
That's wank advice.
Yeah, or they're like, be authentic online, or just this stuff.
Give value.
Yeah. Or like, what does all that mean? Like, we wished that somebody had just been more honest about their experience on the way up. And so that's why on today's episode, we want to go through exactly how we use content to drive sales in our business, exactly how we take someone from being a cold lead to sold within the company. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about some of the new tactics that we've been trying out, which have been helping us to bring on more clients than ever before. This year so far has been insane. Like Jan, Feb have been out of control. Like the start of March also, just so many new clients coming in the door. And I really think it's because of some of the new stuff that we put into place. So I'm really excited to dive in.
Guys, before we get into our first teaching point, which is content and organic content, we just recently brought on a marketing manager, and she did a massive evaluation of our company, what we're doing, and she did an evaluation compared to our competition. And we did learn, which is probably not surprising by us, but we do organic content pretty fucking well. So if there's something to learn from Steph and I, it's organic content. And we're going to give you the 4 steps or the roadmap on how to build really great organic content that brings in the right type of client, okay, and the right type of customer. It's more of an attraction-based marketing rather than making heaps of noise online. So you've probably seen the two. You've probably seen on social media people that make heaps of noise, and then you've seen people that have the right message and bring the right people towards them. So Steph, we're talking about Content OS, our latest framework, but what are the 6 key pillars of good organic marketing, and what are some examples of each?
Awesome. I'll go through the first 3. So the first one is value-based content. So I promise you we're not just going to tell you to give value here, but value-based content. So really in value-based content, you want to be, again, so guys, when we're creating content for social media, you need to be creating content for one person. Now you could have multiple audiences. We do have multiple audiences, but when I'm sitting down to create content, I'm focusing on who am I trying to attract in this week. So, we've been going into like Startup School, which is going to be our new program, which we're really excited to launch. Going into that, we knew that we were targeting people from 0 to 5K months. And so that's a very different type of content marketing that we will do because we're creating content for that person, right? Whereas if we're, going for like a more of a growth-based entrepreneur, we might be looking at someone who's already earning 10K months that wants to get to 20 or 30. And then we might have scaling entrepreneurs who are 30, 40, 50K plus scaling upwards to, to the $1 million business. And so whenever you're creating content, you really need to speak to the one person that you are trying to attract in. So value-based content looks like teach content. So you're going to be teaching them something about their current problem or situation that they are either not aware of or that they need more information about because they don't truly understand it. So teach something. A lot of the time with value-based content, it could be teaching how you did it. So like this podcast episode would be a perfect example of a teach. We're going to teach you exactly how we do it. Another one could be how you got a client a result, which is really a really easy one. This teach-based content is really telling people your methodology, your thought leadership, like the way that Tim and I do business is so different. We're realizing more and more every day is so different to the way that other people do it and to how most people run business. And so because of that, we teach the way that we do it. And if someone resonates and aligns with that, they're going to be like signing up really, really quickly. Do you have anything else to add on value-based content?
Yeah, so in terms of value-based content, how you evaluate if this is working would be shares and saves, okay? And we're talking about Instagram specific here, but you can extrapolate that to any social media platform. So shares and saves is how you're going to know that your value-based content is working.
Awesome. So the next one is share-based content. So this is really creating that, that proof piece in your business as well. So share-based content is things like sharing client wins, which we obviously do a lot of. If you follow us on social media, that's because our clients are phenomenal and they take a lot of action, which we love. So client wins, testimonials, so written, video, all of those sorts of things are really great for share-based. And then case studies. Guys, if you are not getting case studies in your business, if you've been running for more than 2 years, it is time to start getting case studies in your business. Honestly, earlier is even better, but the case studies can take a little bit to put together. I highly recommend getting some case studies together. The way that you frame a case study is basically where were they before, and you want to measure it on a heap of different metrics, and then where are they now, and again, get them to figure it out like based on all the different metrics, and then you figure out what the percentage difference is and what the growth percentage is between those two things. So some of the things that we might get a case study on might be like how much revenue has increased, how much profits increased, how much less time they work in the business, and we might even do more of a soft emotional one where we look at, how happy are they? How much additional joy are they feeling now as opposed to, when they first joined us? So share-based content is so important because, that value-based content lets them like what you're about. The share-based content is where we start to build more of that trust. So it's really like, they can see that it's not just you guys being really good copywriters, but in fact, you actually have a process to getting a result. And then last but not least is give-based. So give-based is really like, makes sense. It's like, how much do you give? So, give-based could be freebies, downloadables, masterclasses, webinars, lots, like anything that you think of really. Like we do Facebook Lives, we do a lot of give-based content, which just allows, it basically is an opportunity for you to invite people into your world. So they've seen you on value-based content, they like what you're about, they see your share-based content, they're like, oh, they can see that they really get results. Your give-based content actually shows them like, oh my God, this person actually really knows what they're talking about.
And the fourth one here, guys, is show-based. So you're showing your personal life, you're showing your thought leadership, you're showing any updates that you've got, like stuff going on. For us right now, we've been quietly hyping up Startup School. If you guys have seen that on the stories and our posts, we're hyping that stuff up. And then any like thoughts of things that have come up whilst you're working with clients. So our process for this, for Steph and I, is we usually will, quote unquote, shit test an idea or a concept, and we'll put that on our social media story. If that gets a lot of traction, then we can make it into a post. And if that gets a lot of traction, we can bring it up on the podcast in our long form. In terms of our personal life, I would say that's what connects most of our audience to us. Okay. So like, the sections we do at the start of the podcast, we talk about Lambo, I shared a topless pic this week, got tons of engagement. We talk about our dogs, like those types of things. So they really bring people in. Why do you want to show share-based content? Is that people want to know that you're not a robot and you're not just this like psychopath that just works all the time and you have no personality and you have no life. Especially if you're a coach or a service-based business, I think this is imperative to set you apart from your competition, okay? People want to relate to people, and people doing people stuff is very relatable, okay? Not just doing robotic, I'm like a 10 out of 10 person, and here's all the amazing shit I do. I have no flaws. I have no thought leadership. I actually don't do anything with my life besides sit at home and work all the time. And that's what your social media presence can look like if you're a coach or service-based business and you don't share anything that's going on in your personal life. Anything to add?
Yeah, just with the thought leadership, this is something that really evaded me for quite some time. I didn't know how to... I knew I had thought leadership, but I found it quite hard, like when I'd sit down at my computer to write content, like how do I get my thought leadership out? Tim kind of glanced over it just before, but it's really like whenever I look for thoughts now, because you're having thoughts every single day, you're just not acknowledging them as good or bad, right? So, or helpful or unhelpful. And so what I've been doing the last couple of weeks is just every single time I have a thought, whether that's on a one-to-one call, and I'm like, I was literally on a one-to-one call the other day and I was like, had a thought, just flew through my head that, I was talking to her about her competition and she was saying that they were catching up. And I was like, if your competition are catching up, then it's time to level up. And I just had this, it just flew through my head. Damn.
Yeah, damn.
And it flew through my head and I was like, I was in the middle of this call and I just quickly opened up my notes on my computer and just wrote it down. And so, and I put that on my story and I've been testing it and people really resonate with that message. And, I've just been sharing more of those thought leaderships about, the girl in the gym who got told she was too much. And there's been some really cool content that I've been kind of, shit testing on my stories. People, you can see what people are resonating with, which means that you might turn that into a longer piece of content later down the track. But that thought leadership is like really just getting in the practice of catching those thoughts as you're having them and then putting them down.
Our fifth one is email, guys. If you're sleeping on email and you've been hearing us talk about email basically every episode for the last 37 episodes, then you're doing your business a disservice. Okay, let me say that again. You are doing your business a disservice. So I'm going to make this so stupidly simple that literally anyone at any stage in business can do email. And all you need to do are two things, okay? A weekly story-based email. And whenever I say that, everyone's like, what the hell? What kind of stories do I tell? You just tell stories that's happening in your business right now. So like a story from a coaching call that we had the other day, a story from a client interaction, a story about me starting a business. That's just 3 topics that I'm coming up with rapid fire off the top of my head. At the end of that story-based email, what you're going to do is have a call to action. Did you resonate with this? Let me know. Did you resonate with this? Apply for my program. whatever the call to action needs to be. It can be direct, can be indirect, can just be an engagement-based call to action. But the first part of this is a weekly story-based email. Also, instead of a story-based email, you can do a podcast update or a long-form update, or I got a new YouTube video or whatever that is. But story-based, especially if you're under that like 20K, you don't have a podcast, you're not doing long-form, story-based emails win, okay? They build a lot of connection. They build a lot of know, like, and trust in the email. Secondly, guys, we launch every month-ish or 6 weeks-ish. We have a 9-word email. So a 9-word email would look like, hey, are you still looking for help growing your business? They would reply. We would get into a conversation and see if we can help them out. Another one is we can invite them. So we can invite them to an upcoming intensive day, which we have coming up in Success School. So a couple of lucky listeners, you guys are going to have the opportunity to come to our intensive, which is an online intensive to grow your business in the next couple of weeks. So a couple of like invites of stuff that's going on. That's a really easy way to, I'm going to say, extract leads out of your list. It's just those two strategies. Our sixth and final strategy for our content framework is we have YouTube, TikTok, and Reels. Okay, so this is just short form video, less than 60 seconds. For me personally, I'm just putting up 5 podcast clips. So we have a podcast editor who takes our long form, makes it into clips. They put a hook at the start, so the first 3 seconds is a little bit hooky to catch some attention. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, not all of these clips hit, okay? And that's fine, and I'm not bothered, to be honest. That's just the cost of doing business. But some of them do hit, okay? And people are seeing these over and over and over. And for me, only if they get, if they get 500 views or 700 or 1,000 or whatever, I don't care because I'm doing 5. And that means I'm getting 5 times that amount every single week of people seeing my stuff.
Yeah, and I do think that people get a little attached to their metrics. If I've put a few reels up lately that have had, bugger all views, but I know that they're the same reels that they're saving them. I know they're the same reels that people are, messaging us about and saying, hey, I'm thinking about working with you. I want to know more about what you're doing. I put a post up recently. I think it got like 18 likes, which in my world is like pretty awful. But I also know that it was sent to multiple people. And so I'm thinking like, okay, even though it's not resonating, not all of your content needs to be viral engagement-based content. Some of it does need to be some of that more proof-based content, those client wins and those sorts of things. They are, when you talk about client success, they are going to be a little bit less on the engagement side, but people are building huge amounts of know, like, trust with you. So,
I must say on that point, guys, I have said this on a bunch of trainings I've done for our private communities in the startup program and Success School. But, Steph and I, we have an audience that, is half the size or 1/10 of the size of massive influencers. And we make 10 times the amount of income that they do. It's not about the size of your audience. It's the quality of your content and how much people have a know, like, and trust connection with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's no secret that we are pretty big on paid ads, Tim, and I would love to be able to take this on, but you really are the ads man now. The ads man, the CRO man. You've got a few, you're slowly collecting all these titles. Yeah. So can you tell our listeners the strategy that they can plug and play for ads into their business, even if maybe they're not at the level that we're at, and even if they're like, Steph, I don't have the money to spend on ads like you guys do. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so it was also funny. We had our marketing manager come in and she did an analysis on our ads, and then, a bunch of other people in our competition that are doing ads as well. And actually not that many people are doing ads, which I find super surprising. Yeah. Even in our client pool, I would say out of 250 clients in Success School, 5 of them are doing ads and like giving it a good nudge, and they're all killing it. So like, I want to ask from your point of view, Steph, why do you think more aren't doing it? I know they can afford it. Like I've seen their P&Ls.
Yeah, I think that people think ads are harder than they are, first of all. And I think that people think that they would rather, it's just too hard to learn. I'd rather let an ads agency do it for me. I'd rather outsource it. And then that's when it gets expensive, right? So if you're telling yourself you can't afford to do it because an ads agency is going to be $3,000 a month plus ad spend, then yeah, you probably can't. But looking at our clients and their P&Ls and seeing the money, like you can afford $5 a day.
Yeah.
If you just took the 3 hours, like Tim's done an entire masterclass, which just teaches all of this. It's a 3-hour masterclass where he goes through exactly how to do what he's about to talk you guys through today. And exactly how to set it up, exactly how to troubleshoot, all the things are in there. And they just took the time to do the 3-hour training. They would be able to spend $5 a day on ads, and their business would dramatically grow. But I think people have this belief system that ads are hard and ads are expensive. And I hope that if you're listening to this today, that you start to understand and that we can start to really challenge that belief system for you. Because if ads were expensive and ads were hard, we definitely wouldn't do them. We don't like doing expensive, hard things. So, in our business, we prefer to choose always the easy, the simple route. And so there is a way to do this for as little as $5 a day. There is a way to learn this in 3 hours.
All right, so there's 3 sections to this, 3 main sections. If you're in that 0 to 5K category, I would just recommend section 1. If you're above that, then I would recommend section 2 and 3. So section 1 is top of funnel, and that just means creating awareness with your niche. Okay, so we're just trying to say top of mind on various social media platforms so that when their problem appears and that they get to that point where they're in great pain, you're going to be the first person they reach out to. So we're just creating awareness. And what that looks like is we're posting clips. So for us, we do clips of our podcast and we do them for $5 a day. Okay, $5 a day. So if you're getting a view for 1 cent or 2 cents, that's a lot of people that are seeing it every single day. That's on 247. Like, that is working in your sleep. That is working on multiple sources. That's on Instagram, Facebook. You can do this on TikTok. You can do that wherever it is. So you just need to make sure you go through. If you don't have a podcast, that's fine. You can go through and look at your reels. You can look at your TikToks. You can see what's worked. You can export it. You can upload it, and then you can start running traffic to that. A really simple call to action is like comment X word below if you want some more information, and you're going to get a bunch of comments eventually. You can start some chats with them, and then you can take them from prospect to customer to client or whatever process that looks like for you. So I'm going to ask you, do you have $5 a day to spend on paid ads? The answer is probably yes. And if no, you're probably on the wrong podcast.
Yeah, I would say, guys, on this, like the reason that awareness is so important is you won't necessarily make money from this straight away. I want to be really clear. But for those, especially if you're in 0 to 5K, but honestly, probably anything under 10K a month, the biggest issue you are going to face is going to be no one knows who you are, especially 0 to 5K. Like, no one knows who you are. No one is like, you're picking through a pool of sometimes like 500 followers on social media. And, that's practically it. You're just getting started. It's really, really hard to get your name out there. By doing these awareness clips, like for, $5 a day, $35 a week, it is really, I mathed that so right.
Yeah.
$35 a week, it is really so valuable for people to just be seeing you constantly. And I get, like, every day we get new followers to my social media, to Instagram, from running ads on Facebook, because Facebook will choose to profile it in Instagram as well. And so we're getting lots of new followers every day. Obviously, every time we get a new follower, we message them, all the things, right? So this awareness level stuff, especially if you're under 10K, this will be one of your limiting factors. It's just not enough people know about you.
Part 2 of the ads framework, guys, is we call this middle of funnel. Okay, so this is people that have seen our stuff before, and then we're targeting them with ads. And particularly, we're doing lead magnets. The whole point of a lead magnet is we're getting name, email, and then Instagram handle. Then we're inviting them to join our group. So for a further nurture from that. For a lead magnet, we're trying to solve someone's problem at their immediate problem that they would be consciously aware of right now. Most of the time, for any of our prospects or clients or people coming into our network, it's how to get more clients. That's the main one. So we do a lot of lead magnets around that. So our average lead price is about $8 to $9. Okay, just depends on the time of year, etc. So we put a decent budget into these type of ads. Also, we are not currently doing this, but we're moving into more of like a webinar type thing. So someone will give us their name, email, and Instagram handle, and we'll send them a webinar on how to do XYZ. At the end of the webinar, we'll have like a really chilled pitch or some kind of pitch on there, invite them into our community, into one of the communities as well. So that's middle of funnel, pretty straightforward. But, if you guys are just getting into this, I would start top of funnel, then middle of funnel. Then we've got bottom of funnel. So, it's funny, in Success School, we have, 250 clients at the time of recording this. So I get to see in the back of a lot of people's ads. And I find that bottom of funnel is probably one area that people are lacking most. And that's just a direct invite to work with you. Okay. So we just put up like a basic Grand Slam offer on ads. And then we just target people who have been in our network. Okay. So the targeting around that is our email list, our Instagram followers, people that have engaged with our clips, watched our videos, these types of things. And we can get someone that fills in our application form for a couple $100. And if that sounds like a lot of money, I fully understand that, but the potential that they sign up and spend a lot more money is quite high. So if you're someone that's been running ads for a while and you're not taking advantage of a bottom of funnel offer to a warm audience, I would suggest jumping into that immediately. But if you're just on the other end of this and you're just getting started, just boosting clips is good. Like, it's a good way to go. If you want to go one step further and you want to get all the analytical benefits of ads, then I would go into the Ads Manager and do some awareness clips. All right, we're going to move into Steph's bread and butter now. So we're talking about sales OS. So Steph just filmed all the sales module in our brand new startup school coming up. So Steph, I'm just going to ask you right now, can you run the listeners through the 4 components of a sale and how we can transition them from someone that is just a lead to becoming a client with our method?
Yeah, I've been living hard in the sales world recently. We have just presented a sales PhD in Success School, which was a 2-day event where I went through exactly like the psychology of sales, how we're going to get people onto calls, how to handle the objections when people don't want to get on calls, exactly how to set up a sales process, all the way through to really critiquing and creating incredible sales pitch decks so that when people actually get on a call with us, there's a really high chance of conversion for the right person. And so I've been living in this so hard the last few weeks. I'm super pumped to talk about it. So our 4-step process is pretty simple. And so I'm just going to spell it out for you guys. So the first part is if someone becomes a lead, which would usually happen twofold. So the way that we measure a lead is that someone will become a new follower. For us, that would be a very light lead, but we would definitely start a conversation with that person. Or we get an actual lead, which is somebody who's gone onto one of our Facebook ads or gone onto our website, has downloaded one of our freebies and has actually exchanged their information in exchange for a document. Okay, so we would DM both of those types of leads. So new followers, any kind of, if we do a reel that says comment below, those people would be leads as well. So we would DM anyone who's follow us, anyone who votes in our polls, anyone who comments on our posts where we're telling them that we can give them something for free, and anyone who downloads any of our stuff, we would send a DM. We would go through a little bit of like a hello and then, a bit of a rapport build. We've done episodes on this before, guys, so please go and listen to any of them about how to sell in DMs. But intro, what are your goals? What are your roadblocks? Why aren't you where you want to be right now? And are you open to getting some more help with this? Because let's get on a call. I have some stuff I'd love to discuss with you. And so that's how we do the DM process. So the first step is let's have a conversation with this person. In that conversation, we're going to pre-qualify. In that conversation, we're just going to build a little bit more rapport so that when they do finally get on a call, they're really, really warm. It's a lot easier phone call for you to have. The next part is that after we invite them to book a call with us, they're going to go to a landing page. So that landing page is phenomenal. Tim has built it so well. So we've got a headline, of course, so that hooky headline that says like that 5-second rule that we've spoken about on landing pages episodes before. A great headline. We go through really clearly what the benefits are for our clients, all the features of our program, and then we have a CTA, which is step 3, our application form. So the only way that you can join Success School throughout our sales process is to submit an application form, okay? And that's because we need to know a lot more about you to make sure you're actually the right fit for Success School. If you're in that 0 to 5K category, depending on if we've had a chat with you, we'll let you know if you're the right fit or not. But some people at the 0 to 5K category are really not the right fit for Success School yet. And that's why we built Startup School. And some people, if you were already earning like $5 million a year, you probably also wouldn't be the right fit for Success School. So we want to make sure that we're bringing the right people into the community that are going to get the most value out of our program. And so we do an application form, which is where we get a lot of their information. We ask for things like, their current stage of earning, their problems they're currently struggling with in business. We ask for their, business information, their website, their Instagram handles, all these sorts of things. And then we get their goals, and then we actually make them tick a tick box to say that they can afford us. So we will have the price range of what we're going to be charging, and they have to tick a tick box to go through the application form to say, yes, I'm willing to invest that amount of money.
I'm just going to put in one more thing here, guys. In an application form, you want to pre-qualify if they're going to do the work or not as well. Okay, so we have a commitment on hours that they need to, say they can commit to the program each week. There's nothing worse than people getting into your program or your gym or your service or whatever it is, and they're not willing to do the work because it ends up being a bad reflection on you in one way or another, okay? They have to be willing to do the work. So if you're on the fence about joining Startup School or Success School, do not join unless you are willing to do the work, okay? And that means a commitment every single week. And if you're a coach or a service-based business, I would 100% recommend getting that commitment on the sales call, in the landing page, in the DMs, or whatever that is, as it is their commitment to their results.
Absolutely. So that application form as well, the reason that it's so important is that it's going to give you all the information that you need to get prepped for the sales call, okay? Because you should definitely not be going into a sales call without being prepped. So if you haven't listened to our episode on how to sell like Grant Cardone, go and have a little listen back to it, because this was really epic. We went through this. But then we get them onto a sales call. We build incredible rapport. We go through their goals. We go through their roadblocks. We tell them we have a solution for them. We give them an offer, and then we handle any objections that may come up. So that is our 4-stage process. It might sound like a lot of work. I want to be really clear. It might sound like a lot of work. And I guess we have found it the easiest way for us to pre-qualify clients, to make sure we're getting the right people. Like, we're so fussy about who we bring into Success School. And so we have found that it is the best way for us to massively pre-qualify, really make sure we're getting the right kind of legend that's in the program, really make sure that they're going to show up and do the work, and that they're the kind of person who is going to get results within our business. And so for us, it's worth it. We also have a high ticket offer. And so, this process does take a little bit of time. It probably converts within a couple of weeks, typically, from cold lead through to sales call and hopefully conversion. But at the end of the day, guys, like, it is for us, like, it is the number one thing that makes money in our business. Like, your sales process is the number one process that's going to make money in your business. And so there does need to be a little bit of work that goes into that.
Guys, just in summary here, and I know you might be thinking, does this work? Is this going to work for me? What's the proof? Etc., etc. So we did our numbers the other day. This exact method that we just talked about in this podcast and gave you for free has made $6.3 million in the last 4 years. Okay, so we have screenshots, we got Stripe, we got all that shit. We did the math on this because we were creating a VSL for YouTube. $6.3 million in that 3-step process. So all you guys need to do is execute exactly what we gave you in this podcast.
And I would just want to, on the back of that, like, one of our clients, Nikki, who is in Success School, she managed to do all of this. She's a solo operator, managed to do all of this, and went from earning $250 a week to $2,500 a week within 4 weeks, within a month of being in the program, because she just put this sales process into place. She figured out how to get leads. We taught her how to get leads, and then she went and got leads, and then she followed this exact process, and now she's making $2,500 per month consistently because it's recurring revenue. And it happened within 4 weeks of using this process. We also have Rach and Tom, who've just recently joined. They're implementing the Sell by Chat. They've never done that before. They're having the highest conversion, the fastest conversion they've ever had before. Like, guys, I could list off 1,000 businesses that have also implemented these processes. And I'm telling you right now, it works, and we're giving it to you for free on this podcast. You'd be crazy not to try it. Okay, let's dive into some listener questions. Rachel S. has said, hey, I recently read Steph's post regarding pausing her marketing for a month so she could focus on business tasks. I'm at a point where I need to do the same because I need to create processes so that I can outsource, so that I can free up time so that I can make more money. During this process, should I continue to post on social media and cut back a bit on the number of posts per week, or just focus on know, like, and trust? Ooh.
Did you say to pause marketing?
So I actually didn't say to pause marketing.
Yeah, that's
which
what I
I
was
think
like,
that
would you say that?
No, I would never say that, as you would know. So I think she has interpreted this as like she paused marketing. I said that I didn't focus on marketing, but I would never pause marketing. So what I didn't focus on was trying to make sales in the business. So for the period of time, and just to be really clear, Rach, and I did, fix this up within our Facebook group, but to be really clear, what I did do during this period of having to rebuild an entire program was that I didn't focus on making sales, which is exactly what I said. I didn't focus on, okay, this week I need to post, I need to track this ideal client, I need to get more DMs, I need to get more people in the, I just didn't, I was like, if I don't make any sales this month, that is okay, because I need to be able to build these systems so that I can make more sales next month, and the month after that, and the month after that. And so for me personally, I would always show up. I minimum will post 3 times a week with stories, no matter what is happening in my world. I don't think I've ever missed that. But I just didn't focus on trying to get sales because I didn't put pressure on myself to make money in the business, because I knew that I needed to get these systems and processes in place. Yeah,
so this topic is very interesting. I'm going to hit this on the head and say you should never stop marketing. You're only going to feel the effects of this 6 to 8 weeks down the track. So marketing is always in a cycle. So whatever you're not doing right now, or you are doing right now, at the time of listening to this episode, you're going to feel in 6 to 8 weeks, okay? It works in like a cadence and a cycle. So As soon as you take your foot off the gas, you're like, oh, this is sick. I'm still getting heaps of clients and heaps of leads, etc. Because the marketing you have done is still working. And then you're going to fade into the abyss. Okay, and you're going to become irrelevant. No one's going to know you. You're going to be relying on referrals, which is great if referrals are popping off for you right now. But if you're in the current climate, which we are, you have to be going as hard as possible all the time, okay? And like the process we gave you for the content OS, the organic stuff in this exact podcast episode, you could bash that out in an hour a week, okay? And you could set aside some time on a Sunday. You know, I don't care if you got 2 kids, 4 kids, 9 kids, 100 kids. You've got, 1 hour on a Sunday that you can commit the time to create the content, all right? Everyone has the time to execute this, and I feel like it's not that hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, look, Emma Isaacs has like 8 kids and she manages to run a multi-million-dollar business, and did that from the ground up. And so I'm not saying it's got anything to do with mums and kids. Like, there are a lot of people who don't have kids who, still don't make the time to do this. Guys, it has to be a commitment. So, Rach, to answer your question, we would never pause marketing, but what I did pause was the pressure on myself to make sales, because I knew that the bottleneck in the business was the fact that I couldn't outsource or bring anyone else into the business because I didn't have the processes set up to do so. So I know we listened to a podcast once where they talked about this, and it was like a multi-billion-dollar business, and they were like, we did a whole year of just not focusing on sales so that we could set up the foundations and the systems of the business. And then the next year they like 3x'd their revenue because they had the systems, they can bring on the teams, they could bring on the clients. So there are times, guys, when you do have to pull back to shoot forward. And this is one of those experiences that Rach is speaking about.
Awesome, guys. That was an amazing episode. If you got some value from it, please subscribe and follow the show. That is our #1 request. So if you get some value, subscribe and follow the show. Until next week, guys, let us know your feedback from today's episode. Steph and I love getting those messages, especially me, because no one messages me and I'm a little loser.
He is lying. He gets more messages than me now. He just doesn't want you guys to stop.
Thanks, guys.